Okay, let's get this one underway. It's the first of two mini-series between Mawkzy and Daniel, and I'm going to repeat once again for anyone who's just tuning in, since we have just started the stream. If you're wondering where is Zen, because I did announce on my Twitter that we were going to be watching Daniel versus Zen tonight. Well, the reason we don't have Zen is because Zen's internet is completely dead. His fiber is not working right now, and the only way that he can play is using 4G, and that means that he can only play EU servers tonight. So we thought, instead of just doing a full EU server matchup between Daniel and Zen, we'll postpone it till next week when we can get a cross-server, you know, a little bit of US East, a little bit of EU between them. And shout out to Mawkzy for stepping in his place. We're starting off with a best of 3 on US East servers, and then after that we're going to play best of 3 on EU servers. So let's see who can take the most games. Let's see if anyone can get the break of server. Up first is going to be Mawkzy with a chance to do that. These guys have played recently. I think it was a month or two ago on Fear's channel. I believe Mawkzy was coming off the back of a different series. I don't remember exactly what happened, but if I recall, it was Mawkzy had just played a different series, and then he, against better judgment, decided to also play Daniel and lost, and he immediately regretted that, saying that he probably shouldn't have taken that series when he was already running out of steam after one tense match. Can't remember if he played one or two. But yeah, Daniel has the win on Mawkzy. I think he took one of the games on EU servers. I think it was 1-1 after the 2 EU server games. Then Daniel won twice on US East. But yeah, I think if I recall, the games were pretty competitive. I think Fear might be in chat. He can confirm if that's correct. Yeah, Mawkzy. I don't think he made it. I don't think he made any excuses on the day. He played in D7's tournament, and then he played against Daniel. Yeah, that's right. Okay. So he played a whole tournament, and then he show matched Daniel. Not a good idea. That's a lot. Oh, nice shot by Mawkzy, so he's going to get a tie game here. I expect we're going to see plenty of those from Daniel today. He looked unbelievable with his air dribbles off the wall against Yan in the USA vs Brazil 1v1 that just happened last weekend. It seems like any time Daniel can get a kickoff to go his way, and he can get the side boost, the mid boost rather, and get an air dribble started, he puts an undefendable shot on net every single time. It's just like routine for him. So I expect to see plenty of those. Of course, Mawkzy is going to be bringing his big flick to the table. Attempts the pinch. That's something else he's had a lot of success with recently, but I don't think that's going to have too much success against Daniel, who does prefer to play a little bit more of a passive defensive strategy these days against top-level competition, but his offense is anything but passive. Punishing Mawkzy for conceding possession there. Mawkzy not going to get anywhere near, he actually did pre-jump here, but he's not going to get anywhere near Daniel's flip reset game if he waits that long. He's going to need to make earlier moves in his own defense on the away server. Yeah, I feel like Daniel and Mawkzy are quite similar in some ways, you know, playstyle wise they're very different, but in terms of form and in terms of, you know, who's the favorite in this, I think they're actually quite similar. I'm leaning slightly towards Daniel just because, you know, even though the last time that these two played, Mawkzy was pretty fatigued late on in the night, I think that will give Daniel a mental edge. You know, regardless of the circumstances where that match took place, a win is a win, and I think that's going to give Daniel a mental edge here. If Mawkzy does make a big mistake on an open net, if he does make a big mistake, you know, missing a goal scoring opportunity, I think it's more likely to get into his head than in a match where it's just, you know, first time you've played against someone. So I'm leaning a little bit towards Daniel. I think he's 55-45 favorite here. However, Mawkzy is one of those players, and I know apparently Jack has said this about Mawkzy as well. I think he said this about both Mawkzy and Daniel actually, that if Mawkzy shows up, he can just be the best 1v1 player in the world. When he's on, he is unbeatable. I think Daniel is kind of similar. When these two are on, there's very, very few players who can even hang with them in a lobby, far less beat them. They are just that good. So let's find out who's going to be in form. So far, Daniel has been the more consistent of the two players. Mawkzy went for a big risky play with a pinch, didn't work. Daniel has looked pretty flawless so far with his air dribble game. What if they're both on? That's exactly what I mean. You know, if they're both on, who wins? Oh, that is some placement from Daniel. Let's look at this from Mawkzy's POV. See how far away he was from this. Daniel just stuck that completely top left corner. What a peach from the American. Unreal. I mean, from some distance as well, he absolutely nailed that. Yeah, his flip reset game looks pretty unstoppable right now. It looked pretty unstoppable against Yan, where both Daniel and Yan just they had so much success with their offense against each other. They were making each other look like pretty incapable defenders at times. But that's going to be further from the truth. You know, Mawkzy as well. These guys are unbelievably good in defense, but I just feel like offense is the favored side of the ones matchup these days. You know, if the attacker plays well, you're going to win the series. You're going to win the games. It's just how it is. You'd much rather be in attack than in defense in ones in the current meta. I feel like after another, you know, half of a year or so, people might be able to read the extremely advanced flip reset meta that's currently happening. But right now it's offense favored for sure. Mawkzy with his signature flick to the left. Of course, everybody knows where it's going, but you just cannot react to that. If Mawkzy hits it, it's in. It's just that simple. If he gets the power that he wants, it's in. He's doing this at a level that very few players can match him right now. Great play by Daniel. Has he scored that? Oh, it's just barely not going to sneak in. I was trying to get a better angle on it. That was such a good try though, and still a good outcome for him, to be honest, because he was about to be on the receiving end of a 100 boost to 0 play. And instead, he's right back into midfield because of that pinch interception, which also nearly resulted in a goal for himself. Mawkzy again sitting back and letting Daniel come at him, and it's not a good idea. I feel like if you know, Mawkzy is going to change one thing up about his defensive strategy going into game 2, and even towards the tail end of this game, it would be to just go for it. You know, just go early. You're not going to save Daniel's shots sitting in your net trying to read what he's doing. He's just too good at placing his shots past goalkeepers right now. I feel like the only person I would have confidence being able to react to Daniel's shots would be Rowas, and even then I feel like it would be a very, very tough situation to be in. Yeah, Mawkzy just isn't quite at that same caliber of reactive defense, so I feel like a proactive just go and hope for the best style would be best for him in this situation. Daniel completely reading Mawkzy's intentions there, low 50-50 countered. It looks like he is going to be able to close out game 1. Going for another long shot here. Not quite going to drop into the goal, and now Mawkzy actually has a chance on the counter. A smart play by Daniel. He realized Mawkzy was going to try and dribble him, so just close the gap and kills a little bit more time from the clock. Now going for a pre-jump reset rebound, makes it work, and that will confirm the game 1 win. Mawkzy wanted to go for another dribble play. He didn't want to concede possession again, and Daniel just punishes him with a perfect read, to be honest. I mean, that was... He makes it look so easy, doesn't he? It's quite terrifying when he's on. Very clean win for Daniel. He played the way he wanted to play. He played his own game to perfection. And he took the first game on the home server. But okay, definitely some things Mawkzy can learn from that game. I think defense is going to need to be more proactive if he's going to have a chance in this match. And also, I'd like to see, you know, a little bit more ball control. You know, the pinch is great. It's something that's worked pretty well for Mawkzy in certain matchups recently. But I don't want to see that against Daniel. If Mawkzy's really thinking about what opponent he's up against here, do you really think you're going to catch Daniel off his goal line much with a pinch from distance? I don't think so. I think Daniel is usually very well positioned to deal with long shots like that. So those are the two big switch-ups Mawkzy needs to be thinking about here. Already into a decent position though as he escapes the wrath of Daniel with the demo. And this time it'll be... Oh, it's a flick to the right. Well, Mawkzy actually learning how to air roll right these days. Looks like it's coming together because that was the same technique he uses the other direction, but just as effective to the other side. Now, this is pretty terrifying to think about. Mawkzy's already got the best flick game in the world, and he only ever goes top left, pretty much. He only shoots top left with the left leaning air roll. That was a right air roll. So if he can master both, the Rocket League world is in a lot of trouble. His ground game is going to be even better. Daniel trying to show that he's got the firepower on the flick as well. Mawkzy's taking a bit too long to turn here. Daniel spotted him out of position and quickly equalizes. Now, from Mawkzy's POV, it looked like he thought he had an easy play on the ball here. Yeah, Daniel could just see that he's not going to have any chance of getting there first. So he does intercept and equalize the game. There's a quick ping check. It's the same as last game. Mawkzy just under 100. And Daniel, as usual, 16-20 or so. Should be almost entirely reversed when we get into the next game. Oh, great try by Mawkzy there. Off the back wall, half flip, attempted pre-jump save, but the shot from Daniel was just good enough. So I gotta see that again. That was a great try, honestly, from Mawkzy. He got a piece of it. It actually seemed like he got a ghost touch on the replay there. But I think he was going to be in a terrible position either way. It's likely that Daniel would have scored if it wasn't with that shot, probably with the next one as well. Mawkzy going to attempt an aerial play of his own. This is Daniel's territory. Mawkzy looking at air dribble past the pre-jump, but Daniel's read that and stayed right there with it. Great boost steal by Daniel. In a very dominant position here. Mawkzy doesn't get the best touch to clear it. Daniel's right there with him. Chain dashes from Mawkzy to try and cover the distance. But Daniel just had too much on his side there. Mawkzy's attempted touch to delay the play didn't really delay anything there. That just ended up setting up Daniel more than anything else. Yeah, you're right. You know, the ones meta these days is crazy to witness. You know, most of the shots players are scoring these days would be considered far too risky 2 years ago. They would not be considered viable strategies. It's a big 50 win there for Mawkzy. Open net, and he slots it. Daniel actually covered some of the net there somehow. Credit to Mawkzy, you know, that he would have probably been imagining that as an open net when he took the shot, or at least when he jumped. Only at the last second realized Daniel's somewhat there to cover it. Does Mawkzy have an aerial game that will cause Daniel any problems today? Okay, he might. Oh, he just missed the rebound. That was a great response to Daniel's early defensive move. Mawkzy unable to hit the rebound after successfully knocking the ball past Daniel. Now trying to get the dribble going. Daniel again spots an opening to advance and stop Mawkzy short. This is not Mawkzy's strong side. He's going to cut in field and create that chance to flick the ball his favourable direction. And then collects the ball in the back corner. Daniel threatening multiple back corner demos here. That's keeping Mawkzy at bay. Mawkzy trying to catch Daniel out of position as well. Fakes a touch down the line, fakes a touch infield. Lots of fakes here from Mawkzy as he tries to path over the small boost pads. Daniel's still got a big boost advantage. Heavy touch infield though. That'll invite Mawkzy into a 50-50. Daniel still circling the edge of the box. A little bit of heavy touches here and there though from Daniel. Looks like he might have scored though. He has indeed. Well, that is a great effort from Daniel to outplay Mawkzy here. Got demoed for his trouble, but he didn't really care too much about that. He's just looking to get the ball clean past Mawkzy. Not too worried about losing his car in the process, as you often do when you put your car where the ball was a split second ago as a challenge comes towards you. Daniel again wanting to go for the fast play. Mawkzy covering the majority of the net there. Daniel actually clipping Mawkzy right as he jumped, and that's going to be a potential tilter for Mawkzy here because it looked like he jumped. He did jump, I believe. Yeah, he did. So he just barely jumped before Daniel connected with him, but not early enough to avoid the attempted demo. Now, the reason I say that might be a tilter is because on Mawkzy's screen, he might have actually cleared Daniel's demo there. But you've always got to remember when you've got 100 ping, it's not going to look like the same on server side as it did in your screen. Great save by Daniel, denying the ground pinch. Now he's got the reset. Wants the double tap. Oh, it's just perfect again from Daniel. Completely unstoppable. Mawkzy gave that ground pinch everything. Only had 36 boosts on the retreat. Was ready to cover the immediate shot. And Daniel went to the backboard. Up by 4. A minute and 34 to go. Now, both players agreed to start USC servers here. Don't know if Mawkzy's now regretting that after taking a bit of a beating here. Still going to attempt the comeback late on in the game. Daniel. Very quick transition in field to make it 7-2. You know, Mawkzy's attempts late in games 1 and game 2 here to control the possession when he's got a boost advantage have really not worked out. He's not respected Daniel's zero boost defense. He's kind of fallen for Daniel's advance, actually in both games. Can he get any kind of momentum going at the end of the game, even just to build something up before the next game? Daniel's fake jump, baiting Mawkzy to shoot low there, right into Daniel's path. I think this, right now, looks like a playstyle that Daniel should be able to replicate on EU servers. The reason I say that is because if you think about what Daniel's doing in offense for the majority of his goals, he's going for pretty clean outplays. He's not trying to play too much of a physical game right now. He's not trying to play too much of a 50-50 game. That's, you know, really what Daniel does these days. And that, I think, works very well. He attempts another pogo that isn't going to work. Daniel still, he's yet to hit one on my channel. Yeah, Daniel doesn't really go for the most physical game in ones. You know, honestly speaking, I think it's one of the things that might be just a little bit lacking from his game. Because when this works, it works well. When Daniel is on mechanically, when he's really feeling it, this style is perfect for him. But you're gonna have days where you need to whip Dandroid out. You're gonna have days where, okay, this, you know, my mechanics are off. Even Daniel is off days mechanically, and it's good to have some kind of secondary playstyle to go to in those moments. That's, I think, one of the reasons why Daniel can be a little bit inconsistent compared to other top tier players in the world, like Rawas, who just seems to always beat the players they're supposed to beat. Daniel sometimes has an off day and can be vulnerable because he just tries to stick to this one playstyle the entire time. But, you know, he's got it working today. Absolutely no complaints with how he played that series. Best of 3, already over. 2 very clear-cut victories there for Daniel on the USE server. Inconsistent? Yeah, if you want some examples, you know, Daniel's dropped a couple of series to Chronic. He's lost to Dral, he's lost to Dark, he's lost to Naupo. He's lost to a lot of players ranked below him. I rank all of those players below Daniel, personally. Daniel's lost to all of those players in the last 6 months or so, and the reason is I think he just tries to sometimes stubbornly stick to the playstyle that is working for him right now in this series against Mawkzy. You know, I think that's the one thing that's lacking from his offensive game, is just sometimes before showing anything else to your opponent, just open the game with an air dribble bump. You know, players who can do that can really just get inside their opponent's heads very early and have big mental victories. Naupo's one of those players. Completely agree with you there. Yeah, Naupo's he's another one of those players. He can have big swings where, you know, when he's on, he looks like one of the top 10 players in the world. When he's not on his game, he doesn't even look like he's top 25. You know, there are consistent players, and then there's somewhat consistent players, and then there's inconsistent players. I wouldn't say Daniel's inconsistent. I just think he's not as consistent as some of the other guys at the top. Great fake there by Mawkzy. He's going to try and assert his dominance here on EU. We've got pretty much exactly the same ping, but on opposite sides now. Yeah, the reason I think Daniel's playstyle today will work when he's in offense is because when you're trying to play clean, you know, flip reset offense, air dribble offense, you're not really worried about what your opponent's doing too much. You're just going for the perfect shot every time. And that, I think that's a good playstyle to go for on the away server. You know, air dribble bumps can be very hard to land. Physical game can definitely suffer a little bit when you've got 100 or so ping. You know, you're not just trying to hit the ball, you're trying to hit the opponent as well, and that can be very difficult, as I'm sure a lot of you know. If you've tried playing on a server that's not your home server, you know, sometimes you go for a demo, it looks like it landed, it didn't. Like that one did land for Daniel. He's got an open net to play with. What's the double tap? And oh, I was about to say for him that might as well be an open net, because double taps are automatic for this guy. He rushed it, didn't make it work. Now he's lost a race to the ball. He's saved by the inside of the post as Mawkzy tried to make it 3-0. If you want an example, by the way, I know that there's probably some people watching who don't know, or who haven't had time to watch all of the matches from all the top ones players, because there's a ton of ones content out there right now. I did make a video about this somewhat recently. I made a top 20 ones players in the world list, and in that video I detailed all of the recent 1v1 matches that all top 20 players have played against other top 20 players. Since then, I think we've had 3 other ones tournaments, so that's perfect for Mawkzy. Undefendable flick for 3-0. But yeah, if you want another example, another statistical breakdown of, you know, where Daniel has failed more recently, and where he has succeeded, that video is, I think, a good one to watch. I'm not going to go into all the details right now in the middle of this match. Yeah, Daniel is just to let all of you know, because I know you are going to be quite interested to hear this. When I told Daniel today that Zen's internet had died and he could only play EU servers, Daniel's immediate response was no, with about 30 O's. He was devastated because he was really looking forward to that match. Everybody wants to play Zen right now. Like I said on one of my previous Zen show matches, it's been a while since I've had so many people messaging me, so many pros messaging me asking me to play one player. You know, Yan wants to play Zen, Rawas wants to play Zen, Toxic wants to play him. He will be playing him after this Daniel vs Mawkzy series is done. Evo wants to play him. Literally everybody wants to play Zen right now. Okay, there we go. Daniel actually going to go for the air dribble bump, and it works. I think that's the first one of the series for him, and very, very well done. Very, very hard to stop. Hard to see coming as well. Mawkzy definitely didn't expect that. Cringe Pog. Yeah, cringe Pog. Yeah, now Po wants to play Zen. Everybody wants to play Zen. But yeah, we're going to try and make Daniel versus Zen happen next week when Zen's internet is fixed. Right now he can only play on 4G, so he cannot play USE servers on 4G. But we're going to get that series next week. That's a great try by Daniel to double save this. He landed on the other side of the crossbar. Just got back to the ball in time, but he didn't have a particularly good hitbox there. Zen is scared of Daniel. Listen, if that helps you, if you think that if thinking Zen is scared of Daniel helps you sleep at night, then by all means. But I can assure you, neither Zen or Daniel are scared of each other. All of these top tier 1s players are extremely confident individuals. They all want to play each other. None of them are scared. I promise you. I think, credit to Zen. He actually offered to play on EU, and he is going to play on EU after this match is over today against Toxic. I'm pretty sure he's going to be playing with, he's going to be playing on 4G, which is not ideal. I don't know. Type 1 in chat if you've ever played on 4G for Rocket League. I have a couple of times. Wasn't very good when I did it. It definitely wasn't the most entertaining experience. Quite a lot of lag spikes, quite a lot of elastic banding moments. But Zen is a fierce competitor, and he's also a great content creator who doesn't want to disappoint all his fans who are hoping they'd see him play today, so he's going to play even on 4G. That's how great of a competitor he is. Okay, look at this. Hold on a second here. Daniel fighting back against Mawkzy. It's not been the same kind of dominant aerial display as we saw on the USE server, but he's making it work. This is where Mawkzy's really going to be mentally tested, because he's already 2 games down on US East. And he knows now he's supposed to win these games. And not only does he have to win this series to counter Daniel, he's going to want to win 2 games straight. It's a best of 3, but 2-1 will probably not cut it for Mawkzy. He'll want 2-0, just like Daniel. He's going to want a definitive 2-0 as well. Daniel did not go to overtime with Mawkzy on USE server. There were no 1-goal games. Right now we're in a tie. Just 30 seconds left. Mawkzy very tested at the moment, but he responds well. Daniel lunged, thinking Mawkzy's going to slow play him. Mawkzy was waiting, he was watching, he was paying attention to that move, and he had full control. Nice high flick to outplay the challenge. Daniel a fake kickoff. Mawkzy reads that as well, and immediately flicks top of the net. It's a crossbar pinch from Daniel to get the clear. Mawkzy has played a great final 30 seconds here. He read the early challenge from Daniel. He read the fake kickoff. He's just been able to read Daniel in the key moments. And good timing on the boost respawn. Mawkzy deflects the ball to the back corner. He hasn't made any mistakes here. Daniel's faked a pre-jump from miles away. Mawkzy not falling for that either. So GG. Mawkzy had to defend his lead there. Daniel was on a great comeback, but Mawkzy got the job done. Can he do it again? Can he force the draw today? I know some of you guys are like, no, we don't want to draw. We want a decisive winner. This is just, one chapter, I believe, in the Daniel versus Mawkzy saga. We've already had one chapter before this. This is chapter 2. Daniel won it the first time. Now Mawkzy's trying to one-up himself and actually beat Daniel. I think the first time that Daniel and Mawkzy played, Daniel won 2 games in US East, and then they went 1-1 on EU servers. Forcing a series, ending up in a series win for Daniel. So we could see a repeat of that here. If Daniel can win this game, then again they'll have gone 1 game to 3 in Daniel's favor. That's what Daniel's looking to do here. Mawkzy trying to go 1 better than the last time that they played and go 2-2. Of course, next time that these guys are in the same continent, they absolutely have to be playing a 1v1. They're both, without a shadow of a doubt, top 10 ones players in the world right now. Probably both top 5 at the moment, I would say. They need to play on a 0 ping matchup at some point. We just have to see that. Nice little air dribble bump there from Mawkzy to tie the game. Not a strategy both players have gone to too much today, but it has worked for both of them when they've tried it. Yeah, a lot of people asking me what's my 1v1 top 5 at the moment. You know, it changes all the time because a lot of the top players are very close in skill. So if, you know, one top 5 player gets a win against another, or let me say if one top 10 player beats another top 10 player, then you're going to need to take that into account and rank one of them up or rank one of them down. I think, you know, Daniel's definitely top 5 at the moment. I think Jan's definitely top 5 at the moment, seeing what he did to USA the other day. I think Zen might be top 5. It's hard to say. He's, you know, still only played 4 show matches ever, so we need to see a little bit more from him before we can just, without a shadow of a doubt, say he's top 5. Right now, I'd predict he probably is, but we need to see more. I think the only guys who are definitely top 5 are Dan, Jan, and I'm going to probably say Rawas as well. Maybe even TRK. Yeah, the last spot is probably being fought between Zen, apparently Jack, First Killer. They're the next names in the list, and Mawkzy as well. I would say that's your next 4. Rounding out top 10, probably Jaria's Khaled. I would say probably Jaria's Khaled. You got players like Naupo, you got players like Raziers. Mawkzy's going for a physical game here. It's second goal out of 2. Not sure Mawkzy watched Jan against Daniel, but the first game Jan and Daniel played, Jan scored 4 air dribble bumps against Daniel, and later in the series, Daniel responded well to that, started challenging earlier to counter those air dribble bumps, and he only conceded, I think, 1 or 2 in those games. Mawkzy doesn't need to do that though. He's also got the flip resets as well. Like, nice little reverse wave dash to give himself some space to run into that ball. Very tricky play there from Mawkzy. Very difficult to read the timing of that attack. As wave dash kickoff is dominating. I've not yet seen a delayed kickoff from Daniel in this matchup, I believe. And that's the clear counter to the wave dash recovery kickoff. Just to not drive into the ball. Just let them hit it into you one time. Mawkzy just going to play for the recovery here. Not interested in making an impossible angle read. Chases Daniel away from the play. And keeps the ball back corner. Daniel not able to get anywhere near as much possession on EU, which isn't surprising. Oh, that's a good little touch there from Daniel. Can he get there? He's got a tight angle. Goes for the mind game. Mawkzy sticks with it. Mid-air adjustment on point there for Mawkzy. But now Daniel's got some space to play with. This should be every bit as effective as it was on the US server games, but not quite. Daniel ends up in front of the ball. Even he can make slight mistakes with his aerial game. Mawkzy 50s it through him, 4-1. Yeah, the pressure definitely got to Daniel a bit there. I think he didn't have the greatest first touch in the position, and then he tried to reach out for it anyway, tried to somehow get to it. That's a great touch by Daniel. Absolutely perfect first touch to set up the aerial play. Mawkzy not going to go. That's risky. We've seen what happens when you don't go, and Daniel's in these positions. Usually he just hits the rebound every time. Here he comes again. This time he dunks it in over Mawkzy, who looked like he was running out of boost. Definitely didn't have the right angle to challenge that play from. T2Y Sam, thanks to the 4-month Prime, by the way. Thanks to RL Winter for the 100 bits. His Daniel's inconsistency in ones came about after he started RLCS, right? He used to be crazy consistent all the time, if I remember correctly. Yeah, Daniel used to be a lot more consistent in his matches against the players he's supposed to beat. But at that time, you know, First Killer wasn't active. I believe, you know, AJ wasn't as active as he is now. And I don't think Daniel was playing many, if any, cross-region matchups at that point. So the competition that he would face was much lower quality. And I think that was, you know, that helped him focus on the players in front of him. He just wanted to keep up his NA win streak. But then at some point he lost his NA win streak, and he, I think, stopped taking the matches against players he's supposed to beat as seriously as he does, or he did in the past. And that's why I would explain why, you know, the Daniel of the past is not the same Daniel we see now. Mawkzy somehow managed to flick this straight through Daniel. He just seems to have full control whenever he's flicking in this direction, and Daniel's trying desperately to read him. Jumped and flipped just barely past the ball. I think a double jump would have hit it there, but it's so hard to know from Daniel's position where the shot's going to go. Another wave dash kickoff gives Mawkzy the possession. Daniel not delaying any of these kickoffs of his. Double reset for Mawkzy, and the mind game. Oh, it's just saved by Daniel though. He's got a little bit of boost left over. He's going to make for the mid boost. He really has to be scoring here if there's going to be a comeback opportunity. He tries to 50 it through, but Mawkzy stands strong in the way of it. Time running out for Daniel. Mawkzy's flicks and bumps have been his nemesis in this second game. on the European servers. Can Daniel create the impossible comeback in the closing stages? This looks good. Take off with efficiency. Top corner staring at the face, but he misses, and that is just, I think, a good summary of how Daniel's aerials have been in this fourth game of the series. He just couldn't quite get his shots to work. He narrowly missed a double tap earlier on EU, narrowly misses the top corner flick there, narrowly missed with the single flip reset earlier as well. You know, it's difficult. You know, even Daniel has those games where he can't get it to work perfectly, which I think shows you how crazy Daniel's level was against Jan the other day, that he was able to produce such consistent aerial plays for pretty much the entire series long. It's so difficult to do. So difficult to do. He looked like an AI with his air dribbles against Jan. Honestly, it was crazy.